and that's fine. So I appreciate it, and from this moment on, if you're going to continue in this manner, you will not be acknowledged, and enough is enough. It's because all we're trying to do, folks, is good for City Island. Quality of life issues, drugs, traffic, work with the police department. I want to be able to welcome our new captain, and this is something our community shouldn't have to put up with. So we're going to move on. He knows that he's not allowed, and if he continues, he's going to be asked to leave. Thank you. You know, I'm only willing to push this so far, but folks, folks of City Island see what you're doing, Stephen. I'm just going to ask you, for all of our sakes, and the reputation of City Island, you really need to recalibrate on choosing the battles you choose to fight.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we're going to move forward, folks. We're going to do the treasurer's report, and then we're going to introduce the great members of the 4-5 precinct. Steve, I'm going to ask you to keep that off, please. Steve, I'm going to ask you to keep that off, please. I'm just going to, I asked you nicely, Steve, please. We're renting this. This is a private entity. Please.
How do we vote on this? All right. The other 2 weeks ago, I got involved representing both the Civic, and I'm on Community Board 10. This is a 5-borough coalition that's dealing with homeless issues. And we had a 5-borough meeting with several hundred people out in Ozone Park in what was a community center public space. And they wanted to videotape the meeting, but they asked. They said, we would like to videotape this meeting, but if any one person objects, we will not. And they asked for a show of hands, and nobody raised their hands, so they didn't videotape. And we want to do the same thing. If any one person here, does anyone object to being videotaped?
Good thing you're not being filmed.
There you have it. So I'm going to go on. I'm going to be the mature one who prefers to get things done rather than fight these idiot battles. Our treasurer's report, we have in our regular Civic account, this is the money that the dues goes into, $10,295.23. In our SON account, which stands for Save Our Natural Environment, we've got $24,089.11, and as I mention every month, $13,605 of that is in the movie fund, which the movie companies donate, and with the Civic and the Chamber together, we will decide some beautification project with City Island. But just while I have the microphone, there's 2 things I wanted to bring up. It does have to do with money, so I guess it fits in the treasurer's report. One of my other many things that I do to try to better the community, I represent City Island Civic Association on the Montefiore Community Advisory Board. I chair that board. I've been on it for 20 years. Last Saturday morning, we had a housing and health forum, and at that forum, I met Michael Sharp, who's the outreach liaison for the New York City Department of Finance, and he talked to me about property taxes. I only have about a half a dozen of these. These will show the different abatements and things you can get for property taxes, but the reason he asked me to bring this up is the deadline is March 15th to apply for, the STAR abatements, disability abatements, and so forth. Also, and he's the person with his information, I know some of you had issues with your property taxes going up higher than you thought. It explains in here how you can do that. Second thing is I mentioned that 5-borough coalition that I'm now part of. Janie went to the first meeting. After Saturday morning doing this in the Bronx, I went out to Sunset Park, whatever the heck you call it, out in Brooklyn. Again, this meeting of these 5-borough, and even Curtis Leewood just got involved, so he was at the meeting with us. The issue is that there's 90 new homeless shelters in the pipeline that are getting stuck in a lot of neighborhoods. And the fight is they want the community boards to have a say in where they're placed, not to fight them. So there's a 2-prong approach. The second prong is there's Assemblyman Hevesy from Queens. He's got a bill, home stability support, that is designed to provide funds for people who are having trouble paying rent to keep them from becoming homeless. And you'd say, well, we don't have the money to spend, but the fact of the matter is the cost of homeless shelters, and even existing homeless shelters, housing a homeless person is a lot higher than this. So they said they've got full support in the Assembly and in the State Senate. The only opponent of this is Governor Cuomo, because his sister is in the homeless shelter business, and she's profiting from this. So I have these flyers, if anybody wants to come, to contact Governor Cuomo to ask him to approve this home stability report. So that's the end of my, my treasurer's report.
I can't believe I volunteer for this shit. All right, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. All right, let's try and lighten this up. Give everybody, before I call the good captain up, I want to say for the record that we have Captain Gons. We lost Captain Gons. I think he was a phenomenal captain, deputy inspector. He will be missed. And hopefully we're going to send a letter of commendation to him. And we've been very blessed, you know. We have the deputy chief, Chief Green, who is part of the 4-5, and we hold him near and dear to our heart. So, Captain, you got big shoes to fill, but hopefully you'll be able to fill them. I just want to say before I call this gentleman up that I met with him, and we sat for about an hour with his officers, and he was very receptive, you know, to our wants and needs, and he asked me if I had a problem, and I guess I got a new one to talk to him about later. But I just want to say, let's give a big welcome, and we'll talk about crime as we go along, to Captain Thomas Frazier.
Thanks, Bill.
Do I need the microphone or?